the Records Project, and digital mapping to help educate the community about the Bray School. In 2023, the lab hired genealogist Elizabeth Fernandez to locate the descendants of the 86 known students who attended the school. I was hired in 2022 to create an archive of oral history interviews to document and preserve the voices of the descendants and capture the different perspectives of the partners who collaborated and cooperated in the rediscovery of the Bray School. So the Oral History Project right now has 40 oral history interviews on the digital collections platform. The first group of these oral history interviews, the first group is the descendant community members of the Williamsburg area and beyond, including Georgia, Texas, and the UK. These descendant community members have ties to the 86 known students from those rosters that survive. Then the other group of oral history interviews are with historic interpreters who have been interpreting the story of the Bray for many years. Although the building was just discovered, the knowledge of a Bray school and the student lists have been documented and interpreted at Colonial Williamsburg through different historical programs and events. Another group are the Bray School Lab student thought partners who, alongside graduate assistant Nicole Brown, have engaged in creating projects to help tell the fuller story of the Williamsburg Bray School. Another group is the archaeologists, architects, material culture experts, and carpenters who describe how their expertise is being used in their respective fields to tell the story of the Williamsburg Bray School. So the Oral History Project that is being created, it follows the guidelines and best practices established by the Oral History Association. The OHA estimates that 40 hours, that it takes about 40 hours to process one oral history interview. So for the 40 interviews that are on the website, if you multiply that times 40, is 1,600 hours. That is a lot of work when you think about the time that it takes to actually interview the narrator, to edit that video, and to transcribe, do the transcription for the interview. So a lot of work, but thankfully, the Cultural Heritage Immersion Program under the Office of Strategic Culture Partnerships is a program, is a set of applied learning experiences curated by SEP to match talent with opportunity for William and Mary students with a focus on providing meaningful career exploration opportunities. So as you can see, some of these internships are across William and Mary, but they are also with the Colonial Williamsburg Foundation, Virginia Museum of History and Culture, Minokin Foundation, and the American Revolution Institute in DC. So the training for the Bray School Lab oral history internship includes learning oral history methodology. And for this, I use a seminar created at Baylor University, where the Oral History Association is now housed. And then we also do the media and technology training used to process these oral history interviews. Then the interns do a deep dive into the Williamsburg Bray School research, studying different select items that are on the Bray School Lab annotated bibliography. The other half of this internship is cultural immersion. And the reason that I wanted to highlight this part of it, because of how important it is for this program, for the students, and for the descendant community that we serve. In order for the interns to fully understand the narrators that they're working with, they need to understand the experience of African Americans. And for one, they need to understand why food, music, and dance are so integral to who we are. When they are listening to a narrator, they need to be familiar with the lives of the Bray School students and their community, which involve going to places like the Brush Arbor, Raccoon Chase, High Water Track, the Grove, the Reservation, and many other locations. So we visited many of these places, as well as attended other events focused on descendant communities. They learned about the resilience of the community and how the legacy of education had been passed down in their families. They needed to understand that this history is hard history, and sometimes the narrators will cry. Because these interns had a deep dive into this history, They weren't just recording interviews with strangers, but preserving the voices of a resilient community descended from the Williamsburg Bray School scholars. So now we will discuss, I will discuss with these students, or interns, I'm sorry, that experience. So, but first I want to introduce each one of you. And I'm sorry, I don't think I ever introduced myself. My name is Tonia Meredith. I'm the oral historian for the Bray School Lab. The three interns with me today, the first one is Elle Kim. Elle Kim was the oral history intern for the summer of 2023. Elle earned the Strategic Culture Partnership Student Excellence Award for her service as an intern that summer. And because of that experience that she got that summer, she received an internship at the National Archives for the summer of 2024. Welcome, Elle. And then for the summer of 2024, I had these other two ladies, Olivia Blackshire, Eliza Fernandez. The two of them were able to help me successfully process many interviews. But as you can see in the picture, they also, on their own, did many events by themselves. I actually went on a trip to Switzerland over the summer. And there was a descendant day at Stratford Hall. And I said, guys, I don't think I'm going to get back in time to go. They went on their own. And during our conversation, they'll talk to you about that experience. But these are the three interns that have helped me process these oral history interviews. So we'll get started with our discussion. And the first one is, if each of you can tell us what made you want to apply for an internship with the William and Mary Bray School Lab?
Okay, this is definitely on. Hi, again, my name is Elle Kim. I was Tonia's first oral history intern during the summer of 2023 and a little bit after that. And I applied to the oral history internship with the SCP office and the Bray School Lab. I think at the beginning of the year of 2023, that was a really interesting year for me because I was taking a historiography class, which is something that all history majors need to do. And that was on the historiography of federal Indian boarding schools, which I found immensely interesting because that was a subject I hadn't really learned about in school growing up in the public school education system in Virginia. And so as I was learning how that historiography developed and about the different interventions that Indigenous and non-Indigenous scholars made, something that kept popping up was oral history. And around the same time I was taking that class, learning about that, I went to one of the career events that we have at William and Mary. There's one per semester, and there I met some people at the office, the SCP office, and they kind of told me about these opportunities. And then there I learned about the Bray School and the Bray School Lab, and that was really immensely interesting because not only was there like an unfolding oral history project where the same kind of intervention would be made as I saw in the federal Indian boarding schools on historiography, but like this was in Williamsburg. They picked up the building, they moved it, everyone was there, everyone saw it, and there's just huge, amazing community that was just right there on like next to and in the William and Mary campus. And as a history major, you really need to get out there. You just can't stick to the books. And since the stuff I was studying, it really was across state lines at like archives where I couldn't really access except online. I thought that applying to work with Tonia would be a really great way to get hands-on experience with history in Williamsburg. So that's a little bit about me.
Hey y'all! Once again, my name is Olivia Blackshire, and I am delighted to be here. And I guess to know why I wanted to be an oral history intern, I first have to tell you why or how I became a student doc partner at the lab. And I was actually in the dorm of Brown Hall. And being a freshman, you're going to go out there and try to discover new things about the places that you're in. And one day I came back home and I saw all these people working around the dorm, and I'm like, what's going on here? And that's when they told me about the history of the Bray School and the archaeology that was going on, how that was the original location, but how it had been moved. And it was from there that I wanted to know more. Then after seeing posters and flyers around campus about being a student thought partner, I wanted to get involved. I met Nicole Brown. She was actually in one of my classes for descendant engagement. I connected with her, and then the rest is history. And so after a couple of years with that, Mark from Strategic Cultural Partnerships told me about CHiP as well. And I knew I didn't want to go home that summer, and I wanted to do something that involved a career in public history. And I thought this was the best way to do it. And I also taken the historian's craft, and a big part of my project was oral history. So I thought that was the best way to apply what I had learned that semester.
Hi, my name is Eliza. It's also nice to be here with both of my panelists and my lovely boss. I feel like my journey started in like the spring semester of 2023 when I had a project that was assigned to me by my professor, Professor Amy Blazer, for a religion class. And it was a 15-minute documentary about like various topics that she had given us. And on that list was the Bray School. And I didn't know what it was. I didn't know anything about it, to be honest, but there was like something just like the Bray School. I don't know about it, but like it just like kind of called to me. And I just really was like, this is really fascinating. Maybe I'll do that. And so I kind of like checked it off. I was like, okay, maybe I'll do that. And then I went home and I mentioned it to my mom, and she was like, oh, the Bray School. Yeah, I know about that. I've heard about that. It's like just an old school for Black students. And I was like, oh, that's cool, you know, and that's like something that I've been already passionate about, you know, African American history and Black culture. And so it was just like, it was that moment when she told me that like, those like, it just became like, it sparked an insatiable curiosity within me. And basically what followed was just like the deepest dive possible into just research that like consumed countless hours, even more than necessary for the documentary. And I found myself just completely drawn to its multi-layered like significance. Just like, I mean, like many, I've been taught that educating enslaved people was universally illegal. That like any learning happened in secret, and learning about that through this documentary project just completely upended that narrative. And I was just so eager to just learn more, and I would have the opportunity to actually interview Dr. Everson and Lee for it. And I asked way too many questions. She got pretty annoyed, I'm sure. But the more I learned, like the more I gained, like I grappled with that, the profound contradictions, like at the heart of the school. And it just like, I don't know, it was really something that had become more than just a project. It becomes sort of like a passion for me to be really, and I just yearned to be involved in something like this. So it was almost like divine that I just happened to be looking online and see this internship. And I was like, oh my gosh, this is incredible. This is everything that I wanted to do, not just simply for the fact that I want to do something like this. I want to do this. And so I applied and I met Tonia and I got it.
So just hold on to the mic and we'll go in the reverse order. I'm gonna let them keep the mic so we can keep it going. And I'm trying to talk loud enough for you guys to hear me. So can each of you then, I talked about the cultural immersion and actually going on site to some of these places or events. Can each of you describe your experience in cultural immersion that you appreciated?
Oh gosh. So she said all these questions just beforehand, and these have been so hard to answer because I appreciate them, like all of the cultural immersion excursions. Just like just all of them. They were just, I don't know, they were just really important for this job. Walking through like, sorry. walking through historic homes and participating in ceremonies for these descendants where they were able to celebrate the people that came before them and engaging with these people. You know, it was just like created profound opportunities for me to understand history, not just intellectually, but viscerally and emotionally. And I feel like these experiences really transform just everything. And I feel like there's like such immense power in these cultural immersions, because I think like one that I really loved and was the Descendants Day, one at Highland and one at Stratford Hall that she mentioned. So at Highland it was like that was, I think I had not met anyone before. I think that was like the very first time that we had met. And I really did not know what to expect from Descendants Day. I didn't really know anything about, you know, descendants or how they come together. And I feel like the moments I experienced there like resonated deeply with me, especially like my encounter with this like ancestral tree that was on the property. Do you remember that? So I took a walk with a fellow intern, Jade, and like we walked by it, and without prior knowledge of its significance, it just like we felt like an inexplicable connection to this tree. And it was like a spiritual resonance that I later learned was shared by descendants who touched the same tree to connect with their ancestors. I feel like this one experience definitely transcended just mere historical understanding. You know, it was like a visceral, like I said, it was like a visceral reminder of just like the living nature of memory and heritage. One other thing, like there's so much, sorry, but one other thing was I was in a course called Descendant Engagement, and I had the privilege of attending a meeting with Dr. Bon Harper and Ms. Jennifer Stacy, who is on the Highland Descendant Council. I believe she's the president. She shared like insights about the importance of like church and community and Black healing. And I saw this really come alive during moments of just sitting and singing, so many performers, and just like, it was just beautiful, just really beautiful. It was like just witnessing the embodiment of her words right there. And for Descendants Day at Stratford Hall, probably one of the most, I guess, touching moments for me was definitely, they're all really great moments. It was just like a really fun day. But it's like the raft ritual. So when we first got there, we laced flowers in this raft, and we had an idea of what was gonna happen. But at the end of the day, we went down to the Potomac River, and the women of the women descendants, they all gathered together, and they were to take the raft and put it into the river. But on this raft, at the very end, were the names of all of the people who were enslaved at Stratford Hall. And I think that this particular excursion was really insightful for me because it's prompted a lot of reflexivity. It really heightened my awareness of my position as like a non-Black participant in these spaces. I've definitely learned that cultural immersion like requires an extremely delicate balance, being present with respect and humility, while also ensuring that I don't inadvertently dominate those spaces, because it's not meant for me. You know, these are meant for healing and connection among the descendants. And this experience has taught me that, you know, true cultural appreciation means like stepping back and listening more than speaking, and supporting from alongside rather than leading from the front. And I definitely brought that work into preserving the oral histories of the Bray School descendants.
Thank you a lot. And actually that, what she's referring to is on right here, that's the wrap that she's talking about. They put the names in and then put it down at the Stratford Hall Descendant Day event. Thank you, Eliza. Olivia?
Yeah, so it's funny that you talk about stepping back. Sankofa, if you will. But, I loved all of the events that we got to do over the summer. It was really, I will always remember this moment in my life. But I feel like the best part about it was that I got to reconnect with a part of myself that I don't get as much chances to express wherever I'm at, particularly out of PWI as well. And for me, the highlight of the summer was around the beginning for the Juneteenth celebrations in Williamsburg. I had never experienced something like that in my hometown. The only thing that they had was the Juneteenth flavored ice cream at Walmart. But this, in all the other events, they felt like family reunions. They welcomed me in with open arms. I got to know about the history of the people who were there before me and what I can do to spread on that legacy afterward. There was good food, music, the cultural immersion, the immersion excursions. And I think, oh yes, also William and Mary also had a quiz kind of event for that too, but also things to commemorate the day. Yeah, I had never been a part of something like that. It was very wonderful. And I agree with everything you said.
Yeah, I agree with Olivia and Eliza. Our immersion excursions have been really informative and really eye-opening experiences, especially for someone like me who, like, I kind of shared experience with you. We never really, I live in a predominantly white hometown and we didn't really do Juneteenth at all. So my primary immersion excursion, some context, when I was doing my internship, Tonia introduced me to the history of the Bray School, the history of Williamsburg, and then she took off like a bird for the amazing Columbia Oral History Summer Institute. Not to throw any shade on you, that was an amazing opportunity, and it was really great. But I was just kind of on my own for my first 2 weeks, and one of the things that I had the absolute privilege to do was to help the Bray School Lab table at the 2023 Juneteenth community celebration. And that was an amazing experience because, first of all, it was organized in large part by the Village Initiative. And Tonia, one of the first things she had me do was to look at the Village Initiative's Local Black Histories project and seeing those oral histories and learning a little bit about the history of the area as well as the greater Williamsburg area was really insightful. But seeing everyone out there, I believe, I checked the website, there are like over 600 people there at the Williamsburg Community Center and on the Stryker Center. That whole area was filled from block to block with vendors, with people, from people out of state, from people like me who were just kind of wandering in as guests in this space. And I felt an overwhelming sense of honor, like to be able to be present, to see people in their element, to see the wonderful runway show that they had, the wonderful flag demonstrations, everything like that, and to wander into the Stryker Center as well, and to see the documentary on the reservation that the Village Initiative had collaborated with William and Mary to do. And so, although I didn't have as many immersion excursions as these lovely two ladies over here, that I think definitely set the tone for my internship to prepare me to really reckon with that oral history it's not dry. It can't be like academic. You can't remove yourself like an objective observer as a lot of other humanities disciplines try to do. So, just being in that space and talking with people and sharing the story of the Bray School as well as just simply observing people was, I think, a great way to start my internship.
Okay. So after doing all these immersions and getting to know the descendant community better, can each of you describe in oral history interview that you either helped to create or did the transcription for a descendant community member, or a historic interpreter, one that really stood out to you or was memorable for you?
Right, so since I'm a little greedy, I'll do a little bit of both, if the time permits, so I try to be concise, but, insightful. So I helped process or helped interview, two amazing people, Kat Getward, who's an interpreter with CW, and Mary Lassiter, who's a very wonderful community member and also part of the descendant community of the Bray School. And we watched their interviews actually because the way they phrased things really stuck out in my mind. So Kat Getward's story really resonated with me because it kind of connected with the story of the Bray scholars, although she's not part of the specific Bray descendant community. She started out as like a child actor or interpreter with CW, helping to interpret the Bray School story. And later, come all these years later, she's being interviewed as an interpreter with the Bray School Lab project. And I just thought that was really nice to see. And she kind of presented her work as an interpreter in a really meaningful way. I remember she described it as it's a way of kind of honoring the people who come before her. And I never really thought about historical interpretation in that way. I just thought, like, obviously you need to be very skilled to interpret and educate people, but the fact that the very act of like embodying or representing someone whose story could have been lost to time in the historical written record was something that really resonated with me. And Mary Lassiter's interview also really resonated with me as well because her story as a descendant community member, kind of finding her way back into her own family history was also very moving to me because she admitted that her connection to the Bray School was kind of not really concrete until she started learning about it when the Bray School building was rediscovered. And then she and her family started to reach back into their history and to identify people who they thought they knew, but actually quite didn't. And even though there's a lot of like genealogical research barriers, listening to her determination to find out who her ancestors were and to like properly, honor them despite all these odds, despite the archival record, which can be quite unforgiving, was another powerful insight that I took away from this project.
Yeah, so I'm gonna be a little bit greedy too. So I have a couple, and I'm gonna go from like the beginning to the end. So the first one that I want to talk about is Devea Brown, and she's a part of the digital sector of Colonial Williamsburg. She was my very first oral history. And when you're a beginner at this kind of stuff, you can feel very nervous. You want to make sure that you're giving justice to the people that you're presenting and the words that they're speaking to. And so there was a lot of emotions racing through my mind. But her story and her just kindness, her compassion towards what we were doing as interns was very helpful. It made me to get more comfortable with the process. It didn't have to be a formal investigation, even though you have to treat it with a form of respect, but it can be something that both parties can enjoy. I also think about James Ingram. Oh my goodness. That man kind of reminds me of my father in the way that he can weave a story for generations, particularly about Gowan Pamphlet. I did not know that much about him. He was the pastor of First Baptist Church, and there may be connections to the Bray School in some way, but the research is still ongoing with that. But I learned a lot about him and his portrayal of Gowan Pamphlet because of him. And I also learned that history is often gives us full circle moments. He went to seminary and then he ends up being the pastor as interpreted of that church. And then just about his childhood, about growing up in a segregated community, playing with somebody from the opposite side of the tracks, and then you're becoming co-workers with him years later. It's funny how life works like that. I also think about Miss Johnette, and thinking about her interview tells me to stand proud of my heritage and to remember where you come from. And I think about, the times that she was talking about the Bray School dedication. And, you know, moments like that can be kind of tenuous, but she stood on business and I respect her for that. And, the last one would be, Devin Kennedy, because that was a time where after a couple of months, we had to apply all of the knowledge that we learned from our internship into into an interview with a descendant community member that we were very active and a part of. It wasn't just transcribing, you know, and being watched as well from other sources. It was a time to take what I've learned and to do good for the community that I was researching. And one thing that stands out to me with him is remembering who's and who you are and how familial connection within his community helped him to become the entrepreneur that he is today. So, yeah.
Thank you.
That was so good. You guys. I'm also gonna be greedy, sorry. But I just couldn't help it because when you said Donette Weaver, I was like, oh, she was up there. It was so hard to choose. I think that really tells you exactly what it's like, you know, listening to these oral histories and being present in them. So emotional. So I might cry, sorry. But yeah, I really loved Donette Weaver's interview as well, especially this one moment where she talks about how she used to ride her bike as a young girl through colonial Williamsburg, and how as she grew, she became angry because she felt disrespected and underrepresented in the community that she belonged to. And she has since worked really hard to highlight stories of Black history, resilience. I mean, you name it, she's there. And in her interview, Ms. Tonia asked what she thought that the Bray School went back and got. She replied, "My childhood innocent love of colonial Williamsburg." And that is just so, I think you all know. And it's just, there's so many more. I mean, I would have the privilege of recently being a part of someone who is mentioned and revered. I mean, in every single oral history, I'm pretty sure, like every single one you watch, he's right there. His name is there, and that's Dr. Rex Ellis. Yeah, I can hear you guys go, yeah. Oh my gosh, just honestly, just sitting in his presence, you guys. I mean, it is just, he was just amazing the way he chose his words very carefully. And there were moments where he was speaking directly to me. And I think he was really intentional about that, speaking directly to me, teaching me, because he knew what my purpose was there and what I could do with that knowledge. And there was also one moment towards the end where he was talking about, you remember when he was talking about like how the first African Americans arrived in 1619? Yes, yeah. And he was basically saying that every state, every town, every bit and piece area has stories like this waiting to be discovered, just waiting. And we just need to do it. We need to put in the effort because it matters. And I think that's what I love about the Bray School Lab, is that it's doing that. And you can see that the descendants are really really connected to this. A lot of them feel, I particularly think of, one descendant, Curtis Lassiter. He was very, you were in that interview, yeah, he was very hesitant at first, very reserved. And I really connected with his words because of that, in a way that he was, although, he was nervous about this and had a hard time opening up, he knew that it really mattered that he did. And he does like a lot of different, things. I think he was one of the other ones supposed to. Yeah. But there was this particular moment in Curtis Lassiter's like oral history where his like demeanor just completely transformed. He was asked how he felt when he read that the students were referred to as scholars. And his initial just reserved disposition just melted away. It just melted and it was replaced by just a genuine smile. And he was like, he said, well, that felt good. And that's such a simple phrase, right? That felt good. But think of the weight that carries. That carries so much weight. And then he connected this to watching his son, walk across the stage at his graduation and being referred to as a scholar. And it just illuminated just how words can provide just moments of validation, and just like the power of dignity and recognition in that word and what we did to it.
Thank you. Sorry.
No, I forgot I was gonna answer.
Okay. So yes, in doing oral history interviews, it can get very emotional. I have had to hold back tears many, many times trying to conduct them, but this poor baby over here, Eliza, I have had to pick her up off the floor. Because she's handling the equipment, right? So she's got the earphones on and she's got the camera on the narrator, and then I can just hear. But it's so hard but that's the power of these oral history interviews. And if you have the opportunity to watch the ones with the descendant community members, and sometimes even the historic interpreters or the project partners, it will move you to tears. I think what Devea Brown said in hers was, when I first went into the building, I had an emotion come over me, and it brought out something that I didn't even know was in myself. Like, I didn't even know it was there. And she said, and I think that's what a lot of people will feel when they have the opportunity. If you haven't already had the opportunity to go in when it opened up for the dedication, when it opens up in the summer, going in there and feeling, feeling an attachment that you didn't even know was there. That's how a lot of people sometimes express it or describe the emotion. I'm sorry, so I'm digressing. I'm going to get back on task here with the with the questions. In speaking and learning the descendant community and then thinking about your own backgrounds, how can each of you tell us how this experience shaped your identity or your ethnic background or ethnic background?
Okay. So I am Puerto Rican, and I have always struggled with not feeling Puerto Rican enough. And it's something that I push down a lot due to insults, things like that. And also from a young age, I my dad didn't really put a lot of effort in teaching me Spanish, and as a result, I sort of like resented him, and so I pushed it away. I pushed my identity away. And I had to teach myself later on. So I do speak some Spanish now, but it took a lot to get here. And I really owe a lot of it to this work. Because I never thought I was important. I didn't think it was. It was, nothing to me. But hearing people talk about their lives, the people who they're connected to, I mean, it transformed me that in so many ways, and this is definitely one of them. And I feel right now, you can see this is a cookie, and it's the tree frog of Puerto Rico. And this is a petroglyph from the Taino people. And I wear this as a symbol to show that I am Puerto Rican. And this is who I am. And I'm never going to forget that, no matter what.
Okay. I guess I've struggled with this question ever since freshman year. Because I've also have had struggles of identity. I've often described myself as when I'm around people being in like a culture clash, from people of all different places that I communicate with. Sometimes I'm afraid of what happens when those different groups that I'm around get together, or what their influence does to me. Because in the past, I let others have such an effect on me as out of a wanting to be liked. I let go of certain parts of me that I shouldn't have. And I felt like coming to school, it was a way of redoing a lot of that, mending wounds, if you will. But as a history major, that can get kind of difficult too, because of the place that we're in. I have been infused with colonial history, and I like it, But when I walk down the street, it gets difficult to grapple with that history, because if the people aren't working there, I barely see people that look like me. And sometimes you start to wonder, well, where am I? How do I fit in this narrative? But doing this kind of work here shows me that, as I've said many times before, that we are here and we've always been here. And I owe it to myself and to the people around me to want to make those voices heard, to make my voice heard, because our stories belong in the narrative. No matter who tries to erase it or neglect it, we have to take a stand against that. And I feel like that helps me to appreciate who I am a lot more.
Thank you. Thank you for that. Thank you both. How am I going to follow up that? So I guess whenever I'm asked about my ethnic background, I kind of have a nothing response, and what that looks like is like, yeah, I guess I have a Korean background. My parents came over here with their parents, in the 80s. It's kind of where it ends for me. As I mentioned earlier, I grew up in a predominantly white town, and for a while, I guess what I thought of myself as an Asian or Korean American was kind of like a nothing burger, like, okay, that's kind of who I am. Like, it kind of stops there. Didn't have any particularly bad experiences, but I kind of felt disconnected in a way to myself and my background, and more specifically to the people who came before me, because as I mentioned, my family history in this country kind of starts at like 1980, and there's nothing before that. I've heard stories of what my, I guess, ancestors were up to and, you know, the Joseon dynasty, but like, that's kind of been very distant and inaccessible to me because unlike Eliza, my parents made actually a very conscious choice not to teach me Korean, at least for my first years. And as a result, I felt like a lot of my personal history was inaccessible to me. But working with the Bray School Oral Histories, and you know, I mentioned Mary Lassiter and her story about her ancestors and how difficult it is. Like, you know, Elizabeth, the genealogist, she will tell you how difficult it is to reach back far into the past because the records that we have of descendant communities, family members are very hard to parse, and in many cases were intentionally not really kept well. And yet, despite all these barriers, what I've seen being at Juneteenth, being with the Bray School Lab, doing all these oral histories, is people fighting against that inaccessibility, saying, no, I'm going to reach back. I'm going to find my people, my history, my family members, because that's what they deserve. And oh, I'm breaking up. And I guess as someone who's kind of viewed my family history as kind of inconsequential, seeing all these people refusing to take the apparent lack of history lying down and deciding to just keep reaching back more and more and more is something that I'd like to take for myself and also do for others as I move forward as a scholar.
Thank you, ladies. So, round of applause. Oh. And just real briefly, can each of you tell us what your future aspirations are? Liv first because she's a graduating senior.
Sure. The big plan is I want to, when I grow up, to become a museum curator. But for now, I'm going to take a year, try to get internships, scholarships, and then go back into school to get my master's in anthropology.
So hard. I'm also a senior. Yay.
Oh, sorry, Liza.
I know you're fine. I'm so glad you didn't choose me first. But so my plan is, you know, very similar to yours, to probably take some time off, go to grad school afterwards, major in anthropology, do all that, become a very, very good anthropologist. That's my goal. And I really would like to do ethnographic work on places where I have strong relationships to, like background or backyard anthropology. That's what we call it, because I feel like a lot of American people do not do that. And I feel like there is so much to learn here. I specifically want to work in Hampton, Virginia, because that's where I'm from. Because it's a very historic place, beautiful culture. And they just like recently put historical markers up, by the way. So, which is sad because this is such a just a profoundly historical place. It doesn't get enough recognition. So I want to do something to help that. Thank you. So.
And a stunning twist, I am also a graduating senior, so, you're fine. I did not want to go first. It's great. So so as briefly mentioned in a very flattering way, oh my God, I did an internship at the National Archives, the poor national archives of the nation. And I want to become an archivist. And what that looks like for me is taking a gap year also, like Olivia, and kind of shopping around for internships, volunteer opportunities. I'm going to be volunteering with the Virginia Untold Project at the Library of Virginia this summer. I'm hopefully going to get a job, but if not, I'm going to be doing that anyways. And then I'll hopefully hop into library archive school, and we'll move to there and see what that happens.
Thank you. Again, another round of applause. So, in addition to during the oral history interviews, both summers, we try to do some type of video montage project, Elle and I put together a compilation video for the summer of 2023. For the summer of 2024, we worked on another one in anticipation of the dedication, didn't finish it, hoping to finish this by the time the school opens in the summer. It's still kind of, it's not finished, but to end the Lemon Symposium today, to end the wonderful discussion that we had with Dr. Black, the wonderful discussion that was had for the book earlier today, I thought showing this to you guys would be a perfect ending for this weekend. So I'm gonna show it now, and I'm on the wrong one. And I said we, Eliza didn't.
And it's not just the Bray School, it's about the time period. It's about what's happening in 1769, what's happening in 1774. We're transitioning to become an independent nation. These young folks were alive at that time, and they would have been witnesses.
On it. Working on it. Thank you. So that's it for our presentation, and open it up to questions if we have time. Okay, okay. Open it up to any questions, for the panelists. No, no, that's okay. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
Well, as I thank you ladies for your authenticity and your hard work, you're truly to be commended. And I wish you all much success in your next endeavor. I've been texting with Johnette Weaver, since I've been sitting here. And she asked me to tell you that she appreciates your meaningful work and that she was proud to be a part of the process and you understand it.
Thank you all for joining us today. Thank you very much for coming.
Like this kind of
I also want to remind everyone that tonight at 7 p.m. at Hart Memorial to the Enslaved, there will be the Living Project's 15th celebration. So there will be entertainment, there will be dessert,
So it's gonna be a great time. So come and fellowship if you're able to do that. That's our sunset celebration. So we'd love to see you there. Again, thanks for supporting us this year.
Does that mean you're gonna have to start leaving you?